Alright, so I just got this tiller here as a trade-in. Husqvarna 900 DRT from 2010 with a 900 series Briggs engine. It's probably 6.5 horsepower, best that I remember. It's been sitting under a tree for a very long time. It is a 12 cubic inch, or no, I forget what horsepower it is. It's like 6.5, I want to say. So first things first, we're going to take a look at the airbox and see if this thing will actually run before I waste any time. By the looks of what I just seen, this thing hadn't been taken care of. And this is what don't get me. People spend a lot of money on equipment, they invest in equipment, and they don't even take care of it. I mean, look at this. This is the original air filter from God knows when. Look at that, just stuck in there. So that's trash. Choke's working, so I'm going to hit it with some spray. It's about empty. I'll move the camera back some. Actually point it the other way. It's got a flat tire on one side, but let's see if it actually runs. Oh, and the throttle cable, something chewed the throttle cable up on it, so I have to fix that. But let's see what it does. How that works. That's a plus. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have here a blowed motor. Let's investigate farther because I got a motor that'll go on it, I think. Or did I sell it? I can't remember. Alright, come on off. Don't care if I tear it up. I got plenty of spark plug boots. Yeah, I'm going to tear it up. And that's all rusted on there. Alright, that came off in pieces. That plug looks like it hadn't been changed in 10 years, or however old this thing is. Let's see if this thing has compression. Now, I think these motors have compression release on them. I think. I'll find out here in a second if the piston's moving. That plug's kind of funky. I should check to see if it has oil first, but like I said, if a motor's bad, I got a motor for it. Problem is getting it out. Alright, let's do the old, like I thought, blowed motor. Let's verify that. Oh, no, piston's moving. Piston's moving. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Stuck rings, maybe? Let's put this thing on here and see what he's blowing. This is like the best compression tester. I've tried countless ones, and this is like the only one that's accurate. I'm going to pull this thing over. Alright, so this thing's shot. This motor's toast. I'm going to go dig out the donor motor and I'll get on it because it's pretty much complete. But yeah, this motor's shot, unfortunately. And just like that, the motor's almost ready to come off. Almost. I'm going to take a couple more things off and you'll get to see me get that really questionable looking pulley off without tearing it up. Because I don't know if the other motor on the other tiller that I've been putting together for 6-7 years has a pulley on it. So I need my handy dandy, not high heat paint, PV blaster if I can find it. This fancy WD-40 here. Get some up in here. Try not to get any on the camera. Oh, this has one of them cursed set screws in it. So let that sit a minute, and we'll try to get this belt guide out. because I know for a fact that other motor don't have those, and I need those. See, these tiller motors bolt from the bottom up, and it's going to be real fun to get to the bolts because I'm going to have to do those by hand, but let's tackle this dude up here first. So you can see that little set screw right there is going to come out. Our motor wants to spin. Ouch! There it went. Alright. I always call these eyeballs for some reason. Yeah, that's not going to come off without a puller, so I need to find my puller and a 7/8 wrench. There we go. Oh, look here, it's even coming off without me having to crank on it an awful lot. I'm doing that by hand, and I don't know if y'all can see it. I'm going to zoom in some. Alright, but sweet. I can get it off by hand now. Maybe I'm asking a little bit too much. Wrenches are not designed for pry tools, but it's working. Alright, there it's off. Alright, now I need a 1/2 inch, I believe it is, and we're going to start taking motor bolts out. Let's see if I can get these motor bolts out. Oh crap, I forgot. Can't use a ratchet on this one. These brakies loose. Not break my hand loose. Alright, this one's going to be fun. Wait a sec. Hey, I can do that by hand. Well, what happened here, you might be asking? Well, got the motor off, and my helper came out, and we were sitting here talking, and before I yanked the motor off the other tiller, I said, I wonder if it has a stuck valve. And well, what we did is pop the valve cover off, which all these bolts on this motor is metric, because this is one of them Chinese made Briggs motors. Nothing wrong with them, it's just, you know, different. But so we popped the valve cover off, and the exhaust valve was stuck open, which is why it had no compression. Which it makes perfect sense because the piston was moving, but there's no, the valves weren't working, so there's no compression because this motor has a compression release on it, on the camshaft. So if a valve's stuck open, the compression release don't release at the right time. It gets too complicated for me to explain it in this video, but in other words, it had a stuck valve, which is why it had zero compression. The oil is full of water, and if you see the little rust bubbles there, that's what came out of the darn thing. So before I go any further with this, I shouldn't have put this bolt in here either, because that's the wrong one. But before I go any further with this motor, like, you know, before I change the oil on it, because the oil is plumb full of water, I'm going to see if it'll at least run off starter fluid. That bolt goes down here. The short bolt and long bolts, the short bolts, one bolt's short and it goes up top because that's where the muffler is. Is that a short bolt? That is a short bolt. And the long bolt goes down to the bottom. So, got to air the tire up too. But like I said, if this motor's shot, like if it starts and I hear it knocking or something, I ain't going to go no further, and I'll harvest the parts that I need for the other motor and the other tiller. But anyways, so now what we're going to do is, this plug, a lot of people would reuse it. I'm going to chuck it because why not? I mean, I'll put in a nice shiny new one. I'm not a fan of Champion spark plugs. If this was a riding motor, I wouldn't have to thread the spark plug in by hand, but on these horizontals, it's best that you do. This boot has seen better days. So I'm going to tape that up with some electrical tape because I am cheap. Well, my electrical tape decided to disappear. So temporarily, I'm just going to, I don't need that much duct tape. So be it. Alright, here's my duct tape spark plug boot. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, move some tools, get some gum out. I meant to put the compression tester on it, but we'll see. Not gum out. We're going to hit it with some starter fluid, and before I bolt it back on the tiller, we're going to see if this thing will actually kick over. Oh, where's that breather tube at? Alright, there we go. So, I think that's fast. I should blow this off before I crank it up, but it's only going to run for a second. This way's fast, that way's off. It's only going to run for a second. I'll say that now. Get down in there. Alright, so the motor runs. It smells like it hasn't been ran in forever. So let's clean this carburetor while it's off the tiller because it's easier to work on, but crap, it runs. I don't even need to put the compression tester on it because it runs. Yeah, we're going the right way. Nope. Okay, almost broke a bolt off. Power tools. Sure beats doing it all by hand. Those are going to be a 3/8 back in here. Or no, those are 10 millimeter. Oh boy. Well, I got a 10 right here. How'd I know? They're 10 millimeter. So the two outside bolts are 5/16, but the two inside bolts are not. Way to go, Briggs. I need a pair of pliers to take his gas line off. There's nothing in the tank, but I'm going to turn it off just in case. That gas line is really hard. I mean really, really hard. Try to grab it and pull it right up. There it went. Okay. Alright, so hard gas line. It's no big deal. Kind of tricky to get a socket on this one. I'm going to have to... Oh boy. Alright, good thing I got this here. So this is a T20, I believe. Yep. Oh man, that's stiff. I don't like how this is feeling right now. It's never a good sign when the float bowl's stuck. Oh, it's going to rip a freaking gasket. I don't have any. Didn't rip a gasket. Oh, this doesn't look bad. A little bit of crust. How's this look? Is that missing a Welch plug? I think it is. Oh, that's clear. So we should be good. I don't think I need to clean this out any. Alright, so that carburetor don't look bad, except that I knocked the float loose. Well, we'll find out once we get it back on the tiller. Next, what we're going to do is change this disgusting oil. So I got my oil pan. While I got this motor off, it's a lot easier to change the oil this way. And when oil is that color, that means you got water in it. Holy crap, this motor's heavy. It's like sludge almost. I'll probably have to change it again. This motor's really not that heavy, it's just awkward. Alright. I usually grab him by the PTO shaft and give him a shake. Actually, this is kind of heavy. You're not going to get every last drop out, but Like I said, I'll have to change it again back when it's on the damn frame. And yeah, that oil had water in it, and this whole jug of oil has water in it, but this actually might be enough in this bottle here. Now when you go to fill these motors, there's really no ounces or anything that goes in them. You're actually supposed to fill them from the top here, but you can't access that dipstick. So what I generally do, even when they're on the tiller, is I tip them forward like this. That way this is up and level. And I'm putting SAE 30 in. You fill it up to about runs out the threads. There we go. That's right at the top of the threads. Right at the very top. Oops. Put that oil bottle out of the way. I really need to change my gloves. Crank down on this. It's plastic. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I got to fix the tire, air it up, put the thing back on the motor, and then we'll get to it. But I got to get these oily gloves off. So I will see you all in a flash. Tiller's gone. It left quite a mess. I got this right here because I just went to change gears and the stupid gear stick, so it did nothing. But it works and runs now that it's straight. But I went to shift out a gear and apparently that rod fell out, and when I went to pull it back, it just went oomph. It just went down and I was like, what the heck? Come to find out the gear stick pin was non-existent. But I had to change the oil in it again because it was milky white, and it probably is right now, but it works in reverse till, counter rotating. Let's move this telephone pole. Good enough. Let's see what it does now. It wouldn't run off choke earlier, and that duct tape's not going to hold. Half choke. Alright, it works. It runs. There you have it, the DRT, or 900 DRT. I hear that oil boiling in there. Probably going to have to change it again. This tiller hadn't ran in years, and well, I resurrected it.